video is to show you quickly how to take another image and merge it into your emulation that you're doing for Flipped. So we're going to be taking this picture of an emulation that a student did last year, and we're going to merge the snake face on it, and we're going to make 12 images because in our GIFs we need 12 images 1 through 12, and we need her face to kind of morph into the snake face. So what we're going to do is grab our regular JPEG. This is painting emulation JPEG. You can name yours whatever you want. You're going to dump it into Photoshop. Open it up. You're going to check the file size. We want all of our JPEG images to be a certain size because if they are too big, then they will not merge as a GIF. So this is the size here. We want the height to be 10 inches, and this will conform. Okay, you don't have to worry about changing that. So the longest side needs to be 10 inches. So if your width is the longest side, then that's 10 inches. Then our resolution, which is the quality of your image, is going to have to be 72. Okay, so all your images are going to have to be that size. You can tell it shrunk down. If you want to make it bigger, you hold the Command key down and the plus, and that makes your image bigger enough for you to see it. All right, so now when we're working in our layers here, let's talk about your workspace for a second here. If you open Photoshop and it doesn't look anything like this, right? What you need to do is kind of design your workspace. So go up to Window and click on Workspace, and you want to make sure it's Essentials Default is clicked. So this is sort of a generic Photoshop. And you can design your workspace to look like anything really. And you can design new workspaces too, like have several different working spaces. But for the essentials, in the basics, we just want essentials. You also need a couple things to do the things we're going to do in this class. You need to have adjustments clicked. So if I take it away, you can see my adjustments disappeared. And then we also want to have layers clicked, and that's this down here. And when you click it open, it's probably going to make a box up here, and you can drag these boxes around. You can expand them, but I like to have a lot of room for my layers and my adjustments up at the top here. And then you also need application frame. I'll show you what it looks like. So that's what happens. I mean, I don't like to have all this negative space of the desktop on there, so I like to have that gray space there. It helps me think. Options. So you need those options at the top because they help you really tweak your tools. So there they are back, and then your toolbar, which is over here, you definitely need to have that. Okay, so we are all set up. First thing you always do is you make a copy of your background because this is your raw photo. This is the one you don't want to alter. If you mess up and you need to go back to it or duplicate it, you need to have a raw image that's just the same. So I'm going to hold the Control key down, click here, and hit Duplicate Layer. I'm just going to keep it background copy because if I keep it that, I always know what it is. So you're always going to work on this layer. You're never going to work on your background copy. Your background, you're going to work on your background copy. Okay, so that's the layer you're working on. All right, so we have a resized image, and now what we need to do is go find an image of an animal. So I thought it'd be fun to turn her into a snake. So when you're searching for your snake or whatever animal or whatever you're turning your person into, you have to make sure that you're searching for a large picture, okay? So you want to go into Tools and then click on Large, and you're going to get a large resolution image. I chose this snake. I'm going to hold Control and click on it, Save Image As, save it to the desktop. There it is. There's another one. And then I'm going to grab it, drag it right into Photoshop. It's going to open as its own picture. And then the last lab we did, we used the selection tool, this quick selection tool. So you're going to grab that, and you need to make sure it's on the plus up here in our options because the plus means we're grabbing it. So we're just going to grab our snake head. Now if I go too far, like if I go whoops, like that, then I can click minus and I can erase it back to just the head. Okay, and I can make sure I get that little black spot there. Okay, so I've just selected the head, and now I'm going to hold down Command C, which stands for copy. I'm going to go back to this face here, and I'm going to hit Command V, and then click OK. And I've got my snake head on there. It's huge, so I need to shrink it. So to shrink it down, we transform it. And to transform it, we hit Command T, and that puts a box around it. Then we can grab that box, shrink it down, and move it. Now, if I want to see where I'm putting it, I can make this snake head transparent. So I do that by going up to my layers here, and I can turn the opacity down, and then I can put it right on top of her eyeball there. All right, and then I can go back and turn it up. Now, I can't do anything else until I've committed this layer. So I have to hit return, and then that transform layer will commit. Okay. So when we're making a GIF, we need 12 images, right? And those 12 images need to gradually change from one thing to the next. So I would like to start with her face and then have the snake appear over top of her face and then disappear. So to do that, I'm going to start with image number 6, and I'm going to disappear it. 6 through 12, it's going to be fading away, and then 1 through 5, it's going to be coming back. Okay, so to do that, I need to make something called a mask layer so that I can paint this out gradually. So I'm going to click on my snake layer here. Now you can name it snake if you want to, but if it's obvious that it's a snake, just keep it snake. And then we're going to make something called a mask layer, and that's this little symbol down here. So make sure you're clicked on the snake, then you click the mask layer, and then we have this white box with the bracket around it. Next thing we're going to do is use our paintbrush tool. I'm going to go over to the paintbrush tool, and we can paint this snake in and we can paint it out. So to do that, we need to choose either black or white as a paintbrush color. So the box down here that's in the foreground has to be black to paint it out, and if it's white, then we're painting it in. So the way to remember that is black conceals and white reveals. So we've got black, get rid of that, and then we can change the opacity of our paintbrush. So here's an example here. If we have an opacity, which means we're painting a solid black, of 100, then we're going to paint it right out, which is not what we want right now. So if you do something you don't like it, you can hit Command Z, which backs up your step. You can also go up to your history here and click back. So over here, we also have to make sure that we're on the mask layer. We also have to make sure we're on the snake layer, because if I click on the person layer and I try to paint, I'm going to paint black on the person. Don't want that. I have to be on the snake layer, and I also have to be clicked on the mask layer. Okay, so let's go back to around 48, 50%. And I'm going to just start, see how it just gradually disappears it. So what I'm going to do is I want it to look like they're perfectly merged. So I'm going to get it there for number 6. Working on number 6. So I want to see a little bit of her face and a little bit of the scales. I kind of want it to be sort of like a hybrid creature. Get some of that makeup in there. Okay, so that's good enough. So once I get it to where I want it, then I'm going to go up and I'm going to save as, and I'm going to do image _6. Have to change it to a JPEG, cannot be a PSD, which is a Photoshop file, which is a raw big file, and I'm going to save it to the desktop. Click OK. All right, now I can continue to paint it out, just little by little. So this would be number 7. Paint it out a little bit, save as, image _7, change it to a JPEG, hit save. Now I'm hitting replace here because I had another image on here that was called that. So that's okay. And then hit OK and continue to do this. Okay, save as number 8, more, save as number 9, save as number 10, save as number 11, and then number 12 will be totally gone. Okay, So now we still have to make images 1 through 5, but I want it to come back. I want the snake to come back because I don't want my GIF to be her face gradually transforming to the snake, and then all of a sudden jumps back to her face without a sort of a smooth transition. So I have to make 1 through 5 a smooth transition. So the easy way to do that is to go to my paintbrush and my mask layer. See that little black blob? That's the black mask that we painted in to get rid of that snake. We're going to switch the foreground to white. White reveals. Okay, we're going to paint that snake back in. Okay, little by little, right? Okay, and then we're going to save as image 1. Cancel, not image size. Save as image 1 JPEG. Save, replace, because there's already one on there. And we're just going to do this again. Save as image 2. Save as image 3. Save as image 4. So on and so forth until I get to one that is very, very close to 6, or the one that's right before 6. All right, and then all of a sudden we have 12 images of a transformed human snake hybrid creature on the desktop. Once we have that, then we can go ahead and do the lab that you're going to do that teaches you how to make a GIF. And that lab is actually, that's my Harry Potter text. That lab is actually not a video. It's just a step-by-step directions on how to make a GIF, which is very simple. And I'll help you with all of these things. So please, if any of these steps seem too fast and you need help with them, raise your hand and I will come over and assist you. All right. Good luck.